Mbappé is a spoiled brat. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. His egotistic attitude over the years has made him quite a few enemies. These are 10 players who hate Kylian Mbappé. And let me tell you, you do not want to miss number 10. Things take a really dark turn. The first guy on the list, however, is someone you know all too well. Neymar's move to PSG dominated the media for weeks. Finally, the golden boy was leaving Messi's shadow to create a name for himself in Paris. PSG dipped their hands in their sticky oil money pockets and paid a record-breaking signing fee of over $200 million for the golden boy. But there was one major problem. Mbappé was the golden boy of France. He was the king of the city, and the king was not ready to share his throne. We all know Neymar. He has an ego bigger than the Eiffel Tower. And as the old Chinese saying goes, two tigers cannot hide in the same mountain. But shockingly, Neymar and Mbappé kicked things off really well. They terrorized defenders in Ligue 1 and became the dynamic duo of French football. It all looked good on the outside, but behind the scenes, darkness was brewing, and soon enough, things were about to explode. You see, Mbappe's arrogance at PSG grew bigger and bigger until it became unbearable to watch. He had so much power at the club and started throwing his weight around. At one point, Mbappé even tried to get PSG to sell Neymar. I often see you guys in the comments saying how disgusting this was, and to be honest, I have to agree. But no one knew how bad the situation was until things finally went south in a match against Montpellier. PSG had won a penalty. Neymar grabbed the ball and was ready to take it when Mbappé walked up to him. For a few minutes, it looked like both players were having a little argument. Mbappé was asking Neymar to let him take the penalty, but Neymar refused, and Neymar was right. See, Mbappé had already missed one penalty earlier in the game, so why the hell would he want to take the next one? To redeem himself? Putting him on the spot for a second time would have been a bad decision for the team, so Neymar took the penalty and skillfully put it in the back of the net. It was a bittersweet moment for Mbappé. He was happy his team was ahead, but he was furious at Neymar for denying him the chance to take the penalty. From that point onwards, things were never the same between the two, at least to the public. It's hard to tell where Mbappé and Neymar's relationship stands today, but it might be better than Mbappe's relationship with the GOAT, Mr. Lionel Messi. Mbappé was already struggling to keep his place in the spotlight with Neymar around. So when news broke out that Messi was joining PSG, Mbappé was shook. First Neymar, now Messi? Mbappé could feel his golden boy status fading away slowly. And Neymar himself probably wasn't too happy either. See, Messi, Neymar and Mbappé were meant to be the most lethal front three in football history. But the lack of chemistry has stifled their potential, especially against stronger teams. Mbappé desperately wants to be the main guy, but that's hard when you have players like Leo and Neymar standing next to you. Things went sour really quickly. Messi slammed Mbappé for being lazy and refusing to press as hard as he should. During the World Cup final, both Mbappé and Messi decided to be petty and celebrate both their goals in front of each other. It also doesn't help that Mbappe's biggest idol is the other GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo. As a teenager, Mbappé loved CR7. He had Ronaldo's pictures all around his room, and as a professional player, he's much closer to Cristiano than Messi. I don't think Messi is childish enough to have an issue with that, but I wouldn't put it past Mbappé at all. But Leo isn't the only Argentine player who has had issues with Mbappé. Emiliano Martinez helped Argentina win the World Cup in 2022 with his killer saves. He was awarded the Golden Glove Award, but days later, Martinez went viral for a very different reason. His Golden Glove was apparently not enough, so he decided to attack the Golden Boy Mbappé. As Argentina were on their trophy parade, fans noticed Martinez holding something strange in his hands. Something that excited Argentinians, but infuriated French nationals. It was a baby doll with Mbappe's face pasted on it. Mbappé must have cried in his multi-million-dollar mansion that night. But Martinez did clarify later that the doll was thrown to him by a fan, but he seemed to have enjoyed it a little bit more than he should have. He has since squashed the beef with Kylian, but he'll probably not be forgetting that doll incident anytime soon. Mbappé has said publicly that one reason he chose not to punch Emiliano Martinez in the face is that he redirected all that energy into smashing the like button on this video. Yeah, he didn't say that, but please go ahead and like the video. It helps me out more than you know. Thanks, brother. But now, let's move on to the next guy. Sergio Ramos is one of the fiercest footballers to ever play the game. He has made a handful of enemies himself throughout his career, and Mbappé once made the list when he did something very disrespectful to another senior player at PSG. In one game, Messi had the ball on the right side of the field. Mbappé called for the ball, but Leo had better options closer to him, so Mbappé didn't get the ball. Mbappé was visibly furious. He threw his hands in the air in frustration, but what he did next stunned Messi himself. He got close to Messi and then bumped him in the shoulder disrespectfully. The look on Messi's face says it all. He definitely wasn't happy. Sergio Ramos was not happy with this either, so a few days later in training, Sergio Ramos gave Mbappé the same shoulder bump, subtly calling him out for what he did to Leo. And this is not the first time Sergio Ramos has had to step in to set Mbappé straight. When Mbappé and Neymar had the penalty incident, Ramos had to separate the two in the dressing rooms to prevent them from fighting. Another football legend, Wayne Rooney, has also decided to weigh in on the Messi situation. He criticized Mbappé for his actions and let him know his place in comparison to Messi. A 23-year-old player commits to pushing Messi. I have never seen a bigger ego in my life. Someone should remind Mbappé that when Messi was 23, he had already won 4 Ballon d'Ors. I hope Mbappé never reads these comments, because these ones might really hit deep. But these comments are nothing compared to what another former Man United player did to Mbappé. Remember the one I was talking about in the beginning? Yeah, keep watching and be ready to give your jaw some support, because it's gonna be on the floor. But for now, let's talk about one person who got painfully betrayed by Mr. Mbappé. I was a little surprised when I found Olivier Giroud was going to be on this list, because according to Mbappé, he loves playing with Giroud. When Olivier is playing in the centre, he does all the heavy lifting required to create space for Mbappé to score goals. Giroud expected Mbappé to return the favour, but during the Euro 2020 tournament, Mbappé showed him his true colours. Giroud couldn't take it anymore and decided to speak up. I was quiet because sometimes you make a run and the balls just don't arrive. I don't pretend to always make the right calls, but I have tried hard to offer solutions in the penalty area. In Mbappé's mind, only one thing matters: Mbappé! What makes this even more heartbreaking is that these two had a beautiful bromance. Just look at the passion in their eyes as they stare at each other. They look like they could star in the next Titanic movie. And Mbappé was actually hurt by Giroud's statement. Everyone knows what happened. It is true that I was a little affected by it. It is more that he said it publicly than the fact that he said it. I saw him in the dressing room and he didn't say anything to me, but we're not going to make a big deal about it. It looks like the boys fixed their relationship issues later on and came back together. They both agreed on one simple rule to keep their relationship strong. Together, they made the lifelong decision and commitment to subscribe to this channel and even to click the notification bell so they'd never miss another video. Nah, but seriously guys, subscribe to the channel. We're starting to get close to 100k. Now, let's talk about Mbappé's feud with Gerard Piqué. This one gets quite vicious. Gerard Piqué has never been one to shy away from a public feud. Whether it's with his longtime nemesis Sergio Ramos or his former girlfriend Shakira. Those hips don't lie, but Piqué certainly does. But that's a topic for another day. Piqué does not like Mbappé, and I don't blame him. Mbappé did decimate Barcelona's defense and score a hat-trick at the Camp Nou. I'd be pissed too. Piqué was upset about the hat-trick, sure, but what Mbappé said to his teammate Jordi Alba sent Gerard over the edge. It was truly mental, and it could have technically landed Mbappé in jail. In the street, I'll kill you. What the hell, bro? That's a terrible thing to say to anyone. Piqué stepped in quickly and shot back at Mbappé. Who are you going to kill? Who are you going to kill? Let's be honest, if these two got in a fight, Mbappé would tap out in a few minutes. Piqué is much larger and physically stronger than Kylian, but Mbappé will gladly fight this next player, who criticized him publicly. Ever heard of Benoit Asuakoto? He's a Cameroonian legend who had some strong words about Mbappé, but not just him. He had a problem with all players of African heritage who decided to play for European countries. European players of African origin who hold Africa in their hearts and who want to help the sport in Africa, blah blah blah, while rushing to play for a European national team make me chuckle. Yes, you love Africa, but you never go there. So what's the story? Yes, you love your wife, but you go out with another. It's a game, I know, manipulate public opinion, blah blah blah. Pretty harsh words from Ikoto, especially since he had some skeletons in his closet. Skeletons that Mbappé used to retaliate perfectly. These African players who hold Africa in their hearts and want to help African sport, blah 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 blah, while fighting with a teammate on the international scene in 2014, you make me softly laugh. But these are your values. The fight he's talking about happened back in 2014, when Asuakoto headbutted his own teammate in a match against Croatia. Cameroon crashed out of the World Cup as one of the worst performing teams that year. But listen, I know Kylian has a big ego, but I have to side with him on this one. It's not like he didn't try to play for Cameroon. He did, but he was turned away because his father refused to pay a bribe to an official. How is that Mbappe's fault? Well, he may not have paid the bribe, but according to this next legend, Mbappé tried to get more money from PSG by manipulating the entire club. In 2022, news of Mbappé leaving PSG was everywhere. As the days went by, the plot thickened. Kylian Mbappé was set to leave PSG for Real Madrid, but one former player, Jerome Rotten, observed the situation and called Mbappe's actions bullshit. Jerome Rotten accused Mbappé of knowingly pressuring PSG for a new deal, even after all the money and privileges he already had. Despite the millions they gave him, this discontent is real. There are many things at the club that he dislikes. He does not see a positive outcome to this, so he puts more pressure on by leaking things, saying, "Beware, I signed for 2 years, but next year, looking at the outcome of that transfer window and the hefty contract PSG offered Mbappé, it's safe to say Rotten was right. Mbappe's annoying ego worked for him one more time. And now we have reached the final moment of truth. The one guy who hates Mbappé so much that he tried to neutralize him spiritually. There might not be another player in the world who loves the spotlight more than Paul Pogba. Not even Neymar or Mbappé can top Pogba's love for attention. The man has a new haircut every single match. He wants people to look at him all the time. In his prime, he had it all. He was the darling boy at Juventus. He led France to win the World Cup and everything was going fine. But as his career declined at Man United, Mbappé continued to soar and slowly Pogba faded from the spotlight. This is where Pogba got so anxious and so jealous that he decided to do something out of this world to destroy Mbappé. Literally. Pogba went to see a witch doctor to put some juju or voodoo curse on Mbappé. At the request of Paul, the witch was told to neutralize Kylian Mbappé, who back then was on a rapid rise, far outstripping Paul's fame. It was strange to see that during that match, Kylian was a shadow of himself against a reserve side. I mean, I've heard stories of black magic in football, but on this level, wow. Now, let's back up for just a minute, because this whole thing sounds too bad to be true, especially when you consider the source of the news. It was Pogba's brother Matthias who made the news public, and after examining the facts closely, there is cause for a little doubt. First of all, Matthias was arrested for trying to extort his own brother for about $11 million. How can we trust a man who tried to steal from his own brother? So, yeah, that whole extortion thing cast a dark shadow on these allegations of dark magic. But listen, there are crazier things about Mbappé that you may have never heard about. Did you know Mbappé can literally run faster than Usain Bolt? Yeah, I was shocked too. Click on the video on your screen right now to hear the full story.